Okay, welcome back. So, pre-shuffled the deck, and as you guys may have already noticed, there was a new tropical depression that formed off the coast, like in the South China Sea. Tropical Depression 4. I'm not sure what will end up being named. I'm not too familiar with the typhoon name list for this year. So when we find that out, we'll handle that accordingly. So first things first. Just gonna be doing a quick tarot reading. Now note, considering China is the primary country in the path, and tarot is banned in China, and given how the government be working, they probably have hired some spiritual enlightened people, or forced some spiritually enlightened people in China to have a barrier over the country to prevent any tarot readings from being able to pick it up or whatever. So this one's going to be a bit of a interesting reading, given that fact. So with that, let's get started. I'll do my best. The tarot cards will do its best, but will do their best. But note that with the atmosphere with China and their anti-tarot laws and what the Chinese government probably has done to better enforce it. So let's get to it. First off, we got 9 of Cups inverted. Interesting. Bear with me on trying to find it. 10, 9 of Cups. Okay, so satisfied and confident with our position in life. Keep in mind, this is what it says for when it's not inverted. So the inverted equals opposite. World reflects the success we have earned through effort and hard work. So the storm won't be successful, or that's what I'm thinking. The storm's gonna have some issues. It's gonna be fighting some issues. So continuing on, we got the Chariot. Interesting. I'm not totally sure what page Chariot's on. But I think it'd probably be near the Magician. Bear with me. Not page 20. Magician's page 6. Okay, so with a Chariot, we got the dwelling place of consciousness. Though the vehicle of the Chariot, the soul controls and balances all the forces of mind and matter. So Storm will have a mind of its own, basically. It seemed like it has a mind of its own. Driver does not hold reins because the Chariot is directed by the will, which is the master of the mind. Okay, so Mother Nature is driving the storm. Jet stream, something like that. Something's gonna take over the storm, and basically, something's gonna take it over. Will it be jet stream, wind shear, or like dry air or something, or maybe volcano, like Pinatubo erupts and the ash messes with it. So we got 10 of Swords inverted. This is gonna be an interesting one. I'm gonna have to reorient my body and all that good stuff so I can actually do this better. An unplugged phone, so it'd actually do a better job on this. Dedicated at least. So we got Ten of Swords inverted. Now, Ten of Swords, I think, is negative when it's not inverted. That is quite frightening. It is one of the more disturbing cards in the deck. But keep in mind, it does not take 10 swords to kill. Some other force is at play. As with all the cards in the suit of swords, we have been on a journey to liberate ourselves from the entanglements of the mind. Again, this is saying something's going to take over the storm. Something else is at play. Something else will be in play with the storm. These cards really go together. Like, something else is going to take over. Also looked up 27. It's like, everything will be alright with numerology, so there's that. But no seriousness, it will be alright. So, yeah, Ten of Swords. That's what that's going for. Again, it's something, but that means opposites, so it's acting alone. Okay, we got 9 of Wands. This is an interesting read, to say the least. Although, given the circumstances, soon I might have to turn on Flash. 9 of Wands. Penetrate, yeah. In the 9 of Wands, 8 wands are placed firmly in the impenetrable wall, and the 9th is held closely, ready for use if necessary. In looking back at battles won, we have seemed to be a bit battered, but we are still full of determination and ready to defend creative endeavors. We are now more certain than ever that we must follow our own destiny. We are now aware that we possess the inner strength and spiritual power to do so. Okay. This is an interesting read. Again, it's about make your plans. Get your plans in order for prepping for this storm. Actually gonna need this is, yeah, I do 10 card spreads for these storms, so I gotta move these so I could actually fit 5 cards in a row. Which the 5th one being two of Swords inverted. That would be, yeah, so 2 of Swords inverted. Well, 2 of Swords is calm preparedness. Yeah, make a plan, or otherwise there's going to be complete chaos. Blinded to the choices or events yet to come, the character is poised, perceptive, and in a state of readiness for what lies ahead. This card also represents facing choices or challenges with mental clarity and the ability to not succumb to any emotional reactivity. Honestly, a lot of people lately could really use that card. Use that in mind. From this composed position, we have the inner clarity to remain open and patient. The 2 of Swords imparts the idea of trusting in the invisible forces at play and remaining balanced and confident. Now that's inverted, people are not going to be necessarily confident, probably with the Chinese government in reactivity of this storm. It's just like, oh, you gotta stay there, you can't leave because COVID's a bitch. And it's like, no, let's not do this. Speaking of Chinese government, the devil. No, the devil's by the High Priestess. What am I doing? Oh, that's Magician. Hold on, let me see what page this is on. 37. Completely wrong part of the book. So, the devil, for all we, if we took all we fear and illusion in the world and blew it up into one monstrous creature, we would have the devil. The devil is the sum of total and of all the illusion and ignorance that exists in the world. Humanity is enslaved by it. The ignorance is memorizing and keeps us in bondage. It lives nowhere but in the constructions of the mind. Nevertheless, it places a dark shadow over the potential of for true freedom, freedom of the spirit. We may be so rooted in the mind and so fascinated with materiality that we do not even understand the possibility of freedom. As long as we remain enslaved by our fears and desires, we are caught in the illusion of this material world and remain asleep. Delighted by our ignorance, the devil lives and thrives. As we observe in the card, the ties are not binding, and we could easily escape. Why do we not slip out of the clutches of the devil? The ego keeps us here, devoted to life's dramas, devouring all of our time and energy, and leaving us in a state of darkness. If we are wise, we will examine our lives closely and search out these aspects that chain us to our limited awareness. By taking back our power from the devil, or in other words, by uprooting the ego from the mind, each of us can awaken to the true nature of things. In this way, we shall perceive the meaning of freedom. Okay, so basically, do not dwell on the storm. Do not dwell thinking the storm's the end of the world or anything, or you have to, stay in your homes. If you don't feel safe, evacuate. That's basically what that says. If you don't feel safe, evacuate. Ahead of the storm. Despite what the Chinese government's trying to tell you to do. To stay home because you catch COVID and relinquish your freedoms to us because we don't know anything. So we got the Herphodite? What did I say? The Hierophant. The Hierophant. And it's inverted, so I need to see what page that's on. I think it's somewhere near the devil. Nope. Page 15. The Hierophant is a great teacher. This is a teachable moment. That's basically not a teachable moment because, well, still is, but the Hierophant is the great teacher in the world. He is the authority. He teaches the knowledge, traditions, ceremonies, and dogma of the great religions. He may be a church leader or an important religious figure. He carries the religious teachings throughout the generations. As the inner teacher, the Hierophant offers us access to ancient wisdom teachings as we guide us in our explorations of the soul. Inner hearing and intuition are our tools endowed to us by the Hierophant. Only with a quiet, meditative mind will we hear the voice of the meditator, the mediator, the Hierophant. Only then will he reveal the great secrets of the ancient teachings and guide us to higher levels of experience. Now, how this pertains to the storm, not entirely sure, but again, it ties with the devil and, question your authority. If you don't feel safe, get out. And, don't let the authority get you killed. Don't let the authority get you killed. Fight back. If they try to keep you in your homes during the storm. 4 reversed. 4 wands reversed. This is probably gonna, again, tie with this whole situation. The living staffs of the 4 of Wands are planted like pillars. They represent a gateway or passageway through which we are invited to step. This card binds us to acknowledge the flowering of our creativity to manifest form. Deepening inner work has allowed ideas to flow into the world and take root. Our desires and dreams have been realized and they have come to fruition. It is time to celebrate our achievement. The 4 of Wands speaks of celebrating work accomplished to the success we have achieved by stepping into the flow of our creative energies. Now, with it inverted, these would be the pillars of destruction. Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse or something. But it's But yeah, basically work towards, like, again, it's questioning authority. Questioning authority. That's what this pertains to. These three really, and the storm is going to be doing its thing. It's going to force people to question the models, because it's probably going to do something that the models. That's actually what I'm thinking. Yeah, not questioning authority like the Chinese government. That got a little clouded, but like with the storm, it's going to do stuff that'll make people question the models, question what's going on. Probably GMA is going to hold out on naming this thing. That's probably what's going to cause it too. But it's going to cause people to cause people to question the weather models, question the weathermen, question meteorologists. This is going to defy what the models are saying, and that's what's going to happen. King of Swords. That's going to alleviate on that too. That's going to be more towards that. I just know it. Like, King of Swords, highly disciplined and represents both discrimination and intellectual prowess. The king sees to the heart of all matters and rules with a keen sense of justice and wisdom. He is truthful, insightful, and predictive, and a protective leader. His perceptions run deep, and his persona is penetrating, reflecting his great powers of analysis and concentration. This king is old and wise and has seen it all during his long reign over the kingdom of the mind. Spiritually, the King of Swords represents the power of self-mastery and high levels of inner awareness. He has mastered the ability to transform thoughts and ideas into reality using his great analytical skills and creative powers. Again, these all really tie together. And again, this is like mind taking over. Like, okay, the storm's gonna cause like a great awakening on like trust towards the Chinese government, Chinese meteorologists, Chinese weather agency, and JMA with the Japanese, and we got King of Wands inverted. So we're just going with the kings again. Alright. King of Wands inverted. Okay, we passed that. We need King of Wands. Okay, I'm just gonna do this the hard way. Here we go. King of Wands is a visionary and master of creativity and intuition. He is fully open to divine inspiration and accomplishes tasks with confidence and authority. He causes the artistic and creative. As the ruler of the wands, he is the most innovative of the kings in the deck. Being very goal-oriented, he can take charge and take any vision of reality. This king is an inspirational leader and entirely capable of inspiring and uniting others into worthwhile causes. When we see this card, we must also recognize that it is always about honesty. The King of Wands rule with spiritual strength and great integrity. We must trust this passionate, noble king as a role model for traveling the higher ground as he brings artistic beauty and new ideas into manifestation. Now, with it being inverted, that means some weather authority, like the meteorologists in China or the JMA meteorology agency or the Chinese meteorology agency, is going to bring about some false information, going to be spreading misinformation about the storm, of trying to get you guys to take shelter in something that'll get you killed. Which again comes to, which this being inverted and this being inverted is basically the same thing. They're literally the same thing. So it's like, yeah. Trust your gut. Don't trust anyone else's gut. Trust your gut and your gut only when it comes to the storm. Like, if you don't feel safe, take shelter accordingly. Evacuate accordingly. Don't get yourself killed over this. Okay, that's basically what this is saying. Like, trust your gut in the storm. That's... Trust your gut. Although the question I asked when I was shuffling was more or less like what is in store for the people affected by the storm, not necessarily the storm itself. So that's probably why this reading came up. Trust your gut. But yeah, trust your gut. But yeah, trust your gut. Don't trust anyone else. Don't trust the authority. Trust your gut. But yeah, this is basically how that's gonna go. But as for the storm, this is gonna be acting erratically, and that will trigger people to not trust authority. Well, in the meteorology agencies in China, the JMA, and I guess the Philippines agency too, maybe, but mostly JMA and the Chinese Meteorology Agency, whatever that's called. So, with that does seem to be it for right now. Stay safe. See you in the next video. Bye.